Oh, Elf! 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 You see anyone? Elf! You see anyone?
I'm still nothing, just random cars. Still nothing, just random cars and passerbys.
Man, these binoculars suck. Man, these binoculars suck. It's been a week now. It's been a week now. I mean, Ella lives here, right at this apartment. Why haven't we seen her yet?
I don't know. Her roommates aren't any help, and we haven't seen her in or out. We've been waiting for ages.
Ages.
I hate this.
Well, Well, maybe we could talk to someone. We haven't tried talking to anyone all week. That guy over there, sharp-dressed man. Let's ask him. Sir?
Hello. Yes, I'm the mayor of this town.
You're the mayor?
Indeed.
Well, maybe you could answer my question then. Do you know who Ella Burzens is?
Well, of course, but,
Well, have you seen her lately?
Well, I'm afraid she's not here.
What? Why not?
Well, we've been looking for her.
Is she somewhere else?
She's been gone for a while now.
Oh, I bet she's in D.C. She's always going there. She's probably been there, 2 weeks now? I don't know.
We just left before we got here.
I mean, is there anything you can do for us?
Well, you're in luck. Yeah. I know a friend of hers, Jacob Martin, is holding a TED Talk.
Jacob Martin?
Just down the way, yes.
Be rid of you. I need you not anymore. Jacob Martin. That sounds familiar.
Are the mics on?
Yeah, all of them are on. Wow.
Wow, I feel like I recognize that name.
It sounds familiar.
Can't place it. Probably just one of Ella's friends we know,
but I guess we should go to the talk and
we should.
Okay, let's go check this out.
Is this the place?
Now welcoming to the stage, Jacob Martin. Wait, Elf, you're Jacob?
Yeah, of course I am. Is this thing on? So I'm not used to this type of thing. Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about webs today.
He's so fluent.
Thank you.
He's so articulate.
Thank you. Most of my work so far has been in the W2, SL2 webs, which are ones with
What's he talking about?
Inner
None of it
vertices.
makes sense to me.
They can only have arcs and vertices on the edges, and only W1.
He's a crazy guy.
Omega-1 strandings going. And I have proven
Stranding?
that the lexicographically least
I just play video games and eat
word
chips all day. I don't know anything about this.
A completely clockwise stranding, at least for SL2 webs. I've proven that for SL2, and I'm working on SL3 and beyond. That'll conclude my talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was crazy.
Jacob, I had no idea you were the elf. Listen.
Yeah. What?
How do we have to do something about this? We can't just... There are two wolves inside of you. Which one will we go with?
I think I like both, but I think I need to be Jacob right now.
I'm all right if you're Jacob for now.
I need to be Jacob right now.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get to DC right now and find Ella.
Oh yeah, me and her were talking the other day.
Let's just fire up the car.
Yeah. You can drive, right?
Yeah. All right. Glad to finally be on the... Wait. What's that?
Okay, my neck's not broken. I'm fine.
Okay.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. But where are we? We're under some sort of bridge and...
The car freaking flipped off the road, man.
Wait. I think I know where we can get... There's a fire over there. Wait. The fire? There's people around it. Maybe they can help us. Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Can you help me? Wait. Ella?
What?
Is that you?
What?
And Who are you with?
Huh? Hey guys, wait, come over here.
Okay.
I can't believe it's you.
Who are these people that you're hanging out with?
Just some people I know.
My name's Barley. Nice
Barley?
to meet
Oh, and the mayor's here.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, we're close.
But who's this really awesome-looking guy in between them all?
So this guy, sorry, I know I haven't seen you guys in a while, but I just feel like we gotta get right to business.
Yeah, really.
So this guy that I'm with, of course, the mayor. This guy's Barley. He's my friend. He's been on the run for a while now.
Oh.
I think he's like out of a home. I don't know. Me too, though, so we can get along. But no, this guy over here, his name's casualTF2.
casualTF2.
He's actually a famous like warlock sort of guy. He knows a lot. He's very wise.
I think I've watched his YouTube videos, actually.
Really?
And I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I know we have a lot to talk to you, but I feel like you should talk to casualTF2 first before we get into what we're talking about.
Yeah, before we get up to all, like, why you've been missing for a month, there's a whole thing we have to talk about. But I'm curious about this guy first, casualTF2.
Yeah, I'm really kind of second to him.
Yeah, really, honestly, like, you're like nothing compared to this guy.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself, casualTF2. What are you up to?
Oh, well, it's funny to see you guys here. You know, usually we're meeting at the church every Sunday, but it's excellent to see you guys here. There's perhaps a bridge nearby and above me that I'm noticing. However, to answer your question, things have been going really well for me lately. Things have been going really well.
I mean,
I'm just worrying a little less.
Yeah.
How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, casualTF2. I'm so happy to hear you're doing well. But
I think you're going to find your friend. And in fact, you may have already found your friend, and in the future you will find new friends that you don't know are lost to you right now, but you will find them, I promise.
Wow. That, that says a lot about the future of the show.
I told you he was wise.
That's kind of the plot of the whole show. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while I have you here, I mean, would you mind if we sat you down for like an interview for the show? Would that be fine?
Could we chat a little bit? I miss this energy too.
Yeah, I miss you.
Me thing.
Can we catch up?
Like all the old days that we used to spend down in Croatia on the docks.
Yeah.
Playing dice.
It's about time we catch up.
Croatia, yeah.
In Split. Good old Split.
So you make YouTube videos.
You do. We actually have a question that's been on my mind for so long.
Yeah, how come you make the best videos?
Well, you see, if I don't make the best videos, everyone gets very upset. Mm-hmm. And at first it was just me getting upset, but then it was my friends, my family. A lot of people don't know about that, but usually, once I've published a video, there's kind of like a council, and it's kind of like grading. It's like school. You guys know about school, right?
I've heard about it.
And they let me know how I did. Yeah, and so, well, sometimes it's kind of hard to be the best, but if I don't, they'll kill me. So,
okay,
that's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Now, let's talk turkey here. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
Your videos. I'm gonna be real here. I have never seen YouTube videos edited or just made in any sort of way quite like yours. They capture certain things and concepts and feelings that I've never seen anyone, at least in the modern internet, really attempt. And maybe that's just because I'm not looking hard enough. It probably is. But my question is, with all of these, very, very interesting things you're doing, why TF2?
Yeah, why TF2 specifically?
It's like these are like some of the craziest, coolest videos I've ever seen. But most of them are about TF2. Why? What
draws you to TF2?
Why all the focus on TF2?
Well, it's a great question, because if not directly about TF2, it's all sort of rooted in TF2, right? It's like that's the
thing. It's
the home medium. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like a lot of things we do in life, I didn't have some grand intention when I started making videos for said channel, youtube.com/casualTF2. At first, it was very nonchalant, impulsive when I wanted to do something creative. And at that time, it was strictly very related to TF2. And I was connected to the subculture of TF2 and specifically competitive TF2 very closely about 10 years ago, which is around the time that I started putting some things up. But at that time, honestly, a lot of them, weren't maybe edited to the degree that you expect now. They also didn't get into a lot of the more quote unquote real topics that I would get into. And I think very slowly over time, the TF2, my tiny TF2 YouTube channel was an outlet to inject some of my actual self and actual things that I was thinking about or dealing with. But it's connected to TF2 in numerous ways, because there is the sense of, okay, this is a game, and we can talk about the game itself, because it's in my opinion the most beautiful game ever, and there's a lot of wonderful things we could say about that, but also it has a very strong community. And when we talk about my channel, like this youtube.com/casual, the power of it in the last 10 years has really been about people and the social aspect. A lot of people coming from the TF2 community, but also now like people who maybe aren't even that connected to TF2, but are hearing about my channel through other means. The point is, it's connected me to a lot of wonderful people, and it's also like in a weird way, through my channel, like I've connected people who didn't know each other and would become friends, and there's a bit of a community that was nurtured, and all this happened so slowly over time. So possibly a way to answer this question is that it started with TF2 because didn't really have a plan, and I loved TF2, and I also thought, why can't we mix all these things? And so you will see that in bits as well in my videos, that there's a sense that, hey, I'm just going to talk about anything here, or we're just going to compare something to anything. And I'm going a little crazy here now. I'm really thinking, but quick shout out. Everyone needs to know Frank Yang, if you don't know who that is. Now, if you look up Frank Yang is like a guy who talks about like enlightenment and meditation. But 10 years ago, Frank Yang was famous on the internet just for being a bodybuilder who made these sort of surreal montage style videos, where also sometimes his whole shtick was like, hey, I'm a meathead. I'm just an idiot who's like obsessed with like the grotesque bodybuilding, and I want to like just be a total womanizer and obsessed with superficiality. But then at the same time, he's like, I read Kant and I read Plato, and I'm obsessed with philosophy and like ideas. And so his channel was, I think, the first YouTube channel I'd seen where there was this very clear juxtaposition of, hey, I'm going to just be okay with this being a complete mix of whatever I want it to be. He'll be like, oh, here's the mixtape montage of me and my relationship with my first girlfriend that I just broke up with. But then the next video is my montage of me working out, and then the next video is me playing violin. That was Frank Yang. And so I think that definitely influenced me a bit to just think, hey, why can't I have my little mix of maybe, there's some TF2, little Tiger Woods occasionally referenced, and then a little bit of me just meandering about my own thoughts and that sort of thing, and music and all those different things I like.
So
what do you think of that?
You said TF2 is one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful game. Is there
Yes.
why would you say that? If you get like quickly, if you had to convince someone in an elevator as to why it is the most beautiful game, what would you say?
Yes, yeah. So it's in part, it's hard to discuss now because the current version of TF2 is also different from the version of the game that came out in 2007, and that's part of its beauty, is its longevity. There's really not a lot of games from 2007 that still have cult communities and have been consistently culturally relevant since 2007. It obviously isn't on the same level as many like AAA titles that are continually refreshed and updated, like a Call of Duty or something like this. That being said, it has been very influential for a long time. And if you look too at the origins of the game, and specifically the way it was designed very intentionally, it at the time was very subversive for using more of a non-like military art style. It has more of this kind of deeply saturated colors, almost cartoonish aesthetic. And I think we could talk about the gameplay part of it too, but part of my testament about TF2 is that I really was never very interested in video games until Team Fortress 2. And I think for that reason too, even people who maybe aren't actually that serious of gamers or very serious of gamers, that's another conversation, but even if you're not, you can appreciate the aesthetic sensibility of the game. And I think my final thought on that too is that it has an ambiance that is very real, which I think you miss in a lot of games nowadays where there's such a focus on futuristic aesthetics. TF2 is very humble and modest, 1950s sort of, hey, look at this map that's like in someone's barn type of vibe.
Yeah, I think I saw you talk about this in one video where you were talking about how you can tell how everything was actually like made in the map, like put together.
It's made to feel that way, like a real space rather than, yeah. And
I feel like, I don't know, I guess would you say that another part of it is I feel like you can get so much out of it. Like it has been built upon for over a decade. And it's so easy to build on it. Like there's the characters and settings. It's so easy to keep making forever.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about that. That on one hand, we don't need anything more. This is a common perspective too that a lot of like diehard real TF2 fans is that they don't need anything more because just what's already there is enough to kind of keep recontextualizing and re-experiencing in new ways. And then on the other hand, you can look at it that for whatever reason, TF2 just has that kind of charm to it that lets people stay interested in it, even if it's not strictly for the gameplay. And I think you can see that just in the cultural relevance of like the characters, and if you think of all the different memes that have come from TF2, and even a very long time ago, like Gary's Mod videos 15 years ago or 12 years ago or something like this. You'll watch like
Oh, your connection cut out for a second. Sorry.
Well, I was talking about Mr. Beast, so I'm glad that the connection cut out. That was really embarrassing. But yeah, it's culturally relevant. I want to ask you guys too, because I know I'm the one who's talking a lot right now. But what is everyone here's relationship to TF2? What do they think of when they think of TF2? Have they played it? Have they not? Etc.
Sure, we'll go around this area of the circle, around this barrel fire that we're all around. So me, I probably have one of the stronger relationships to it. I don't know. These two guys maybe even stronger, but I don't know. It was one of the first games I played, like for like 13 years ago. I don't know. It's been a through line throughout my life, and I've had times where it's been like my thing. It's been like like every day I'll get on, and then sometimes I'll put it down for a few months, and then of course I'll fall right back in love again. But I don't know. It's been a concept that floats around my head, at least once a day, every day, no matter what, in different ways,
Mm-hmm. It follows you.
What about you?
I have never really been a video game player, mostly because when I was a child, I did not have really much access to computers or that sort of thing. But TF2 still has permeated my life in one way or another because for some reason I tend to make friends with people who are interested in TF2, and also like I don't know, it's shaped the internet culture in a big way, and I've because of that I don't know, it feels kind of nostalgic to me even though I haven't really played it. I have a fondness for it even though I haven't really played it. And I would always I remember in the olden days when people would argue in school about TF2 versus Overwatch or whatever. I was never on Overwatch's side. Yeah.
You did well. Thank you.
And
Thanks.
let's hear from our other co-hosts briefly.
Personally, for myself, when I started playing it in 2011, I was very young, so I didn't have the most, I guess, serious idea of the impact it would have on my life. But here I am, 10, almost 11 years later, and I'm still playing TF2. I'm still engaged with its community, and to the point where I'm even fostering my own community that plays TF2. It's just constantly been a thing in my life, really. I feel like it's had an impact on a lot of people's lives, not just with this cultural impact of, memes, Putis, Spy Crab, and stuff like that. I feel like it's just been a big thing in gaming, and it'll continue to be a big thing in gaming until something keeps it from being played, which I don't see coming for the foreseeable future. It changed a lot, and it's going to keep changing.
Actually, I guess you could sort of say that not just TF2, but sort of Valve games in general. But that's the reason that you're here right now in this room, because that's kind of the way we met, isn't it?
That speaks to its magic, doesn't it? Yeah.
I am a bit more of a video game player in my lifetime than Ella has, especially in recent years. But I do, but although I never played TF2 really, but I do have one very specific instance of playing it where I first got a laptop some years back, created a Steam account, said, this game's free to play, installed and played TF2 for an hour the day after the Jungle Inferno update came out. And then I said, I don't get this. And then I didn't play it for a couple years. And that's about the end of my experience.
And let's hear from Mango.
For me, I've never really been much of a competitive kind of gamer, but, like Jacob said, I saw the game was free at one point, and I was like, well, it looks fun. I could try it out, And I very quickly kind of discovered the community servers and realized that there's a lot of servers where people are just kind of like hanging out and not like actually playing the game. It's like almost like a hangout thing, and that's kind of where I spent most of my 1,000 hours in the game. And like Ash said, that's eventually kind of that same mindset is how I met my friends here today. So it's very interesting how it can, a game can do that.
Yes. Also, can I say something real quick?
Please.
It's coming to mind hearing you guys all talk about it, and with your initial question of why TF2. At some point, it occurred to me as well that there are things I might want to communicate that I think are difficult thoughts to explain, or maybe difficult thoughts to sell to people. And at some point, I kind of realized, if I use the vehicle of TF2, I can get across my ideas in a way that I wouldn't be able to otherwise. So I think a lot of my content has always been enough to where just an innocent TF2 player could stumble into it and see TF2 in the thumbnail and go, oh, okay, well, let me try this out. And then I might derail it in what I actually talk about in the video. But the end result is that person isn't seeking out the thing that I actually gave them. And that is very exciting to me, right?
Yeah.
I understand
Maybe in
that
a video
lot,
I actually talk about I ramble for a long time about expectations and disappointment. And it's nobody is really, some people are, but nobody is really going on YouTube and searching for what is the correlation between expectations and disappointment? You know what I mean? I like that it's not necessarily people who want self-help philosophy or just weird personal content. They're not seeking that out. They just happen to be in the TF2 sphere, and then they find what I'm doing. And then now it's oh, you're in, you're here, you clicked, you like TF2, and now I can talk to you about whatever I want to talk about. And so that is very cool to me, that it's a Trojan horse, if you will, or I'm inside TF2, which is the Trojan horse, or something like this.
I feel like the classic example is your medic video, where it's it's just lazy purple, but then it turns into everything it turns into. I don't know. I feel like
literal clickbait. Yeah.
I feel like this also creates an interesting phenomenon where people like me or whatever. It's I want to listen to a smart guy talk about weird stuff for an hour, and so I go to I guess I'll go to the TF2 guy,
Nice.
I guess I'll go to the TF2 YouTuber to hear about like, consciousness and enlightenment. That's probably the place where I'm most likely to find it.
So speaking of your videos and your work, we're wondering like if you had to say, I guess, a specific feeling that you're going for with your videos that you're trying to get across. Like, what would that be? Like, what are you like what feelings are you trying to invoke in the listener, or that or feelings that you're trying to express that are yours? Like,
we could start with
themes.
Yeah. Wait, say that last part again. Sorry.
Like main themes, sort of deal,
Okay. I mean, we can just—that's my favorite word. We can just say emo to start. Okay. I love an emo atmosphere, to put it colloquially. But for a long time too, I'm a little different now. I'm a little healed. I'm a little more of an adult than I was when I started making this kind of stuff. But certainly when I was younger, what I was looking for everywhere in the world was the emotionally transcendent stuff. I was kind of, in some senses, a troubled person, and so in whether it was in art or in something very banal and seemingly mundane, I was seeking for something that would hit me in the heart and something that would make me go, this is what it means to be alive.
So true.
And so I try to do that same thing in some of my stuff. And I think I'll put it like that. That's the simple way to put it. I want people to feel something, for sure. Feelings.
So you would say the main feelings or motifs about it is just feelings in general, like invoking any sort of intense feeling.
Yeah, you could say it's invoking intense feeling. It also depends on the particular video, because a lot of times the reason that I will make a video is because I'm suddenly like, oh, this is what I want to communicate. And maybe it was coming from a place of like, I want to communicate confusion, and I want people to be wondering things. And then there's other times where I'm like feeling really good, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have things figured out. So I want to explain this to my little tiny audience here and give them a bit of what I'm enjoying, right? So it depends on where I'm coming from at any given time. But I guess simply put too, I don't see so much of the point of making stuff for me unless it has some sort of like cool emotional edge or some sort of cool insight type of thing. 'Cause that's just what I enjoy personally as well.
I wanna feel like the PL Cashworks video all the time, every day when I wake up and when I go to bed.
Right. That's a feeling, isn't it? I was sure feeling away when I made that.
I can tell.
Oh man.
Here's another one. So when you're making your videos, this can kind of extend to just the whole creation process. But I'm more concerned about the visuals and the way it sounds right now, less of the actual context
Totally.
for this question. Do you go in knowing what the video will look like and sound like, and do you usually stick to that, or does it just sort of happen? Do you just sort of like
yeah.
Yeah, is it stream of consciousness when you create like that, or?
Yeah, it's a good question. So almost always for a very long time now, because time has flown way quicker than I think it has. So probably, any of my videos that are like good and clearly high effort and thought out, pretty much all of them, audio comes first. Oh. So I will record if there's a monologue or some voices or whatever, and then I will put the music behind it in a way that flows well. So that comes before any visuals, and then basically it's like I have the finished video, except it's just audio. And then I throw that into the editor or whatever. And then now the mission is, okay, it's kind of like you're editing a music video, right? It's like the song's finished, so to speak. Now let's try to throw in visuals that match each section of the audio. So that's been my method for a long time. And it's a little painful for me, the visual part, because sometimes I will see very clearly in my mind like what I want. And then it's just a darn, this is going to take a lot of effort kind of feeling, or it's you just don't even know how you're going to convey it. But usually you get a sense and the music informs it too. If you think of the the How It Feels to Play Medic video, like you referenced, that was the first time I really clearly worked in that way. But basically, each section of that video is like heavily stylized, and it's all kind of based on the song that's going on during that moment, and also the way I've like edited my voice during that moment. And then that will usually give me a sense of like, oh, this part needs to feel like cyberpunk, but also have like East Asian religious elements, you know, and oh, this part needs to be like shocking and like horror and like have like undertones of violence and sexuality. And then you got to go do that. You got to go find the visuals and stuff.
Oh yeah, you got a question?
I was just going to say that's kind of interesting to me, since we were listening earlier, or I was listening earlier with just the audio. I had no visual. And then later tonight, before we came on this show, I rewatched the same exact thing with visuals. And I could kind of get that feeling that you had done this from the audio first, then go to the visual. I think it's really smart of you.
That's super cool. Do you know which thing you watched?
That was the How It Feels to Play Medic video, actually.
And SD Doomsday too.
That too.
Oh yeah.
I got SD Doomsday is in my opinion your magnum opus.
Does he know that we're Doomsday?
Hey, that's awesome, man!
Well,
Shout out.
Oh yeah, we
it's
actually
fun to like. Huh?
My co-host here is asking me to mention that.
Okay, so we like what we do is we're a performance group, and our name is actually Doomsday ×3 for short. So it's like really fun
Cool.
that you have a video called Doomsday. So like, oh my gosh, it's
It's
us.
fate.
Yeah.
I considered today trying to make you believe that I chose the name Doomsday because of that video to see if you'd believe me.
I would never believe you.
Yeah, I know. I probably couldn't convince you, but I wanted to see if I could try.
That
Okay,
would be
so
very funny because it's like not even inspired by the map, but the video itself.
Yeah.
So what do you edit with? Like, what do you use to edit?
It's always been, I mean, at least, yeah, it's been Premiere, basically, Adobe Premiere
Okay.
for a long time. And honestly, I'm like a Luddite, kind of. I can't be bothered to learn new technology. I got really old someday. I like turned 19 and then I was like, I'm done with all this. And I stopped learning. And, so I've just been using Premiere since, but, I don't particularly consider myself good at any kind of editing. I think I've just done the same type of thing for a long time that I kind of know what I want and I kind of have my tricks. But I definitely like when I watch other people's highly edited stuff and just the climate too of YouTube, like over the last 10 years, oh my gosh, 10 years, not that edited. And it's crazy how fast things have gotten and how much the standard has increased for like glossy transitions and all that stuff. And
Yeah, really.
nowadays, yeah. What do you guys think about that?
What do I think about
Well,
that?
I don't know. I think I'm the editor of the bunch here.
True.
In the sense, that's like what I do is I make video, edit video, and collect it and hoard it away. And yeah, I would agree. I think like video is becoming so important for like if you do anything, you need to have an edited video of it to show everyone, and it needs to be impressive, and it needs to have a glossy title, and it needs to have like interesting graphics and transitions, and like everyone and their mother is an amateur video editor now. So like if you want to be considered an actually talented editor, you can't just like know a few things. You have to know a lot of things in order to be like considered good. So yeah, I would agree. Like I wouldn't consider myself a good editor either, even though like I definitely edit and I have knowledge of it. It's so hard to say you're good at this point because the ceiling is so high.
And also, you can get good at doing like one specific thing, you know, because like I'm not like a graphic designer, but people I'll make like posters for shows, and people will say like, oh, these look so good. Why am I even going to graphic design school if anyone can make stuff like this? But I can't make anything else except for like posters that look like they're glowing. That's about it. That's
and
never
that can
getting
be
an end of
good
it.
too. That's specializing, you know. That's important.
True. Yeah.
Maybe this question is answered just by like the time period you started, but why post on YouTube as opposed to something like, I don't know, Facebook or Bilibili?
Or Meta Cafe.
Yeah.
Or Vimeo, yeah.
You're not on Billy yet, man.
They're waiting for you on there.
My Chinese is too weak. That's the real reason I'm too embarrassed about my low-level Mandarin. YouTube, it's interesting too. I'm going to segue off that a little bit because a lot of my influence to even start making things was that there was a culture around TF2 YouTube, like literally back 2012, 2013, when I really was first getting super into the game. And there was something very exciting about the type of content because it was so different to now. I think part of that was just like the hardware people had and even just the standards for editing. Things were a lot simpler. And so you'd have a lot more just long form videos of people basically explaining things and talking about things. It's almost like if you think of what is the early content that was on YouTube, it was little fun like, oh, I uploaded this video of this cool hippo that I took at the zoo from my phone to YouTube. Like that's like genre 1 of videos, no edit, right? And then you have maybe the few people kind of doing something cutting edge, resembling the future, where they're trying to do something more like a production, more like a show. It's edited, but that was rare. And then the main category is people just like film anything and explain, film anything and talk. And it was the case certainly in gaming content back then as well. I mean, I guess I shouldn't totally sell an inaccurate picture because there was frag videos. There was also a lot of amazing stuff back then, like in 2010 even, that still holds up by today's standards. But what I miss was the simplicity of things back then, and that I felt more attached to like the personality of a creator rather than the bells and whistles, where I think nowadays it's a lot easier to just be a bells and whistles creator just because that's the era that we're in right now. And so another reason why I've done anything kind of like this and will continue bit by bit to do some things is I want to see people do what I do. Like I would love to just watch videos where it's okay, there's some gameplay in the background, but then I just want to hear someone's like super interpersonal thoughts. I want to hear them ramble about their own conceptions of how reality works and their own feelings and those types of things. But I can't find it. It's really hard to find somebody just, 45 minutes of gameplay and someone like unloading their brain to me. And that's what I want. So hopefully eventually people will just be like, oh, like that, like Casual did. And then I don't have to do it anymore because I can just watch their video.
Okay. I have another question about your videos. How much do you think irony plays into your videos? Like, is there any like layers of irony in it? Like when I was watching some of them, and there's just like random like JPEGs on the screen of like completely random things that have nothing to do with what you're talking about,
or badass like medic stabbing heavy
like
compilation,
like completely ridiculous non sequitur images coming on the screen.
But they also feel very sincere.
They feel, it's this. I think something that really stood out to me about your videos is that it feels like you're really towing the line of irony and sincerity in like a really interesting way that I don't see a lot. And I wonder if that's like just what I'm projecting on it, or if that's true for you. If it's like that's an important motif, is like irony versus sincerity in your videos. Also, I was wondering a different thing. I'll wait till you say that. Actually.
Okay. I was gonna say it's totally a thing, and I think I understand it better now than I did when I was younger, because so much of it had to do with the climate that I came from. Because I think I feel like I really saw the culture of like what young people found funny, the way it very clearly changed from, if you think about people being on Facebook or MySpace and sending like literal macro style memes, like pre-irony, and then to seeing it change to where basically we have the culture we have now, right? There was a lot of in between, but like the current like Gen Alpha or whatever, or kids who are like 12 on TikTok, like the sense of humor now is insane. And I feel like, I'm not saying that to say I don't understand it, but back in the day, I felt like thanks to some of my friends who kind of were always challenging me to find stranger and stranger, quote unquote, comedic things, I felt like I was at the sort of periphery of my time in terms of things pushing the limit, and it was almost a shock to me when things suddenly became very ironic, because I think my experience of it was always, we want to push the limit, so because it's interesting, like you're saying, to ask whether something was sincere or not. This kind of idea of like, let me say something a little crazy to make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah.
It's not just a full-on You know what I'm saying?
No, we were just agreeing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, there's a little delay on when I hear you, but essentially, I really don't enjoy the whole like full ironic style of humor. And a lot of people, in a sense, it's a good thing about some of my videos is that it filters people who just only are living on that wavelength, who watch like 2 minutes of my video and go like, "Oh wow, nice shit post, bro," and then they go back to, "Oh sorry, S word, not good." But,
Oh yeah.
I dumped it. That
was an aphorism. But basically, yeah, it has always kind of filtered people to some extent, and I think nowadays I don't necessarily work that way. Nowadays, I'm probably more not needing to have layers of random JPEGs and those sort of things, though I still certainly love it. And when I look back on a lot of my like older things, what's heaped in that, most of it I still stand by, and there's maybe moments where I go, yeah, I think that's just because I was like in a creatively frustrated mood where I just felt like I needed to put something there, so I put something that would maybe stir anything within the viewer. But there's also an element too of like particular videos. I think I got off a bunch on confusing people, and that in itself was a type of humor to me. Like literally when you think about the how it feels to play medic video, I think part of what was so exciting about that initially when I was drafting the idea and it happened so quickly was, I don't know, it was just so funny to imagine somebody like stumbling into the video who it's just all, it's not that it all goes over their head, but it's just there's something beautiful to me about people
getting it over their head.
It sounds very sadistic. Yeah, maybe it is like that. I don't know.
We kind of get that, actually.
Yeah,
that's kind of our thing.
That's kind of what we have done over and over again.
You guys are down with that too. So.
But also, I get what you're saying about it. It can feel cheap though sometimes, of just being like, it's not what you expected. It can feel like it can feel a little bit. I don't know. We've made things like that, and after a while, it can feel like, okay, well, you know, I have them here. I have the people there that don't expect to be here. Now,
right.
You know, now what? Now what can I do to push things even further? To really do something to them while they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it requires a lot of comfortability with ambiguity, I think, and you guys probably deal with that too, with what you're doing. That there's going to be times where, I mean, it's kind of fun if you're lax about it and not too attached about it. But it's fun to see what things people notice, what things people attach to, what things you did that were like super intentional and meaningful and didn't get noticed, and then what things you like didn't even really think to put that much effort, like it didn't mean anything to you, and somebody else like found this deep meaning in. That is always such a cool aspect of all of this, is that I think it's good to be intentional with what you create, but there's also a lovely aspect of everyone being their own person, that no matter how intentional I might be with making something, it's like you're still going to get the things that you get out of it, because you're you, and I don't know what it's like to be you and see things through you, and
yes.
it's kind of just like a fun game, living in this reality and seeing how everyone else reacts to things, because
you get it.
Everyone's unique.
You get it. This guy gets it.
Yeah,
this
guy gets it. Wow, I love this guy, huh?
Hey, can you be the new co-host? Can you be the host?
I leave? I think he needs to take my place.
I'm moving to Virginia.
Cool.
Soon?
Yeah, really? You mean that?
Like,
it's a promise?
how many hours will you until you get here?
What's the ETA? Google Maps. What's your address?
Okay, princess. What's the ETA?
I can stay there, right? I'm no rent.
Oh yeah.
No,
There's a little spot in the studio, just in the library. I think we can fit you in there.
We could hollow out one of the like fluorescent lights. He could fit up there.
True, yeah.
It's like, and it's also a nice little window. We can see what he's doing. You know.
I technically, you know, I have like the podcast room to myself. I can stuff you in there.
I have one more question. I think we should do lightning round after that, unless you have more questions.
I have. Okay, I'll do my question. You'll do your question, and then we'll do the lightning round. Just start preparing for the lightning round now.
Maybe do some warm ups.
Like a glass of water could be good. But before the lightning round, I want to ask: is there any video of yours that maybe like that you're talking about people like being very intentional about things and people just not caring? Is there any video that even if you've accepted that people just don't care, is there any video of yours that you feel like it's underrated or overlooked, a hidden gem?
Sure. Yeah. I probably should have looked through all of the videos before doing this, so I'd have it more fresh in my head. But the one that definitely, I don't think it's underrated per se, but I think so. There's a video I made that's I can't remember. It's either called like "What are the TF2 class's favorite albums," or it literally says "favorite metal albums." But either way, it was kind of supposed to be clickbait, where it's like, oh, it's just albums. But basically, that video is just dense montage editing that like attempts very intensely to connect like underground metal music knowledge with TF2. And I think just from an aesthetic standpoint, that's like the best video I've made. That's sort of the TF2 highly edited style video. And I think for a lot of people, they think, it's just probably not appealing to them because they think like, oh man, like, well, this will only appeal to people who like metal music. And I could see that, but I also, maybe it's just me, but I would love to see like that style of video with any style of music or anything niche. If somebody was like, here is a really intense connection of like Yu-Gi-Oh lore to TF2 characters and just with tons of leaps of logic, I would love that. So that's probably the one video I got to shout out because I just haven't heard a lot of people say that they really like that video. But I love to hear too, like everyone has their own personality. Like the fact that you're like, oh, I like the Doomsday video. That's so cool. Because I swear, if I actually talk to people who really connect with the videos, everyone's different. Someone will not like a video I think is really cool, and then they'll love some video that I'm like, really? That's the one that was your favorite? So yeah. It's all good.
Okay, so my question is, I've heard you mention a couple things offhanded, like this random guy that's into meditation and Chinese yes. and a bunch of like random stuff like that and like you mentioned like freaking like ancient East Asian freaking like practices. I'm wondering, how into esotericism are you? Is that a thing that you're interested in? Because it seems like you could be.
I was very into it when I was younger. And I would say I don't know, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, we said there was a day, right, where I became old or something. Mm-hmm. So recently, not at all interested, but certainly there was a period, and it correlates a bit too. I think when you feel a little lost in life, you draw more intensely to that curiosity about esotericism. And I don't know, I'm obsessed with, like, I love weird stuff in general, so I think it just comes naturally. But also, I will say, part of my mentality of like trying to make the videos more interesting is to just feed in any other knowledge I have that actually like has some substance to it or is something notable. I think everyone should do this with everything. Basically, it's just like crossing over your strengths and your backgrounds, right? Because if somebody only has TF2 knowledge in their brain, it's great, but you can't. I'm never going to get those like surprised, like, oh, whoa, what's that other world that you just dipped into for a moment? And certainly there's times too in the videos where there's an esoteric reference where I really don't know a lot about it. And then there's times where it's also like me subtly putting something that's like a third of my life in there.
All right. Excellent response, but it looks like it's time for the lightning round.
I can hear the thunder.
Oh, God. Oh!
I just saw the lightning! It's the lightning round!
It's time for the lightning round! You know what this means, listeners. casualTF2, I'm sure you've listened to every episode before this, so you know exactly how this works. 100%. You have 10 seconds to answer the following
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
questions.
7, 8, 9, 10.
That's not much time. Are you ready? This could get intense.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so in a lot of your videos, you talk about, you have the whole video about the longest day. In a lot of videos, you're like, oh, I got so little sleep here. I got so little sleep here. You're always up so late, sleeping so little. We're so worried about you, all of us at home. But my question is, how often do you get a good night's sleep?
Once every 2 weeks.
Whoa. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, next question. Mountains or coast?
Coast. I'm a water guy. I'm amphibious.
Okay. See your country. See your country.
Sorry, what she meant to say was city or country.
City or country?
Oh, city. I'm going to Tokyo. Put me back.
Interesting. You seem like a city boy. Okay. Jacob, you have one?
Yeah. If on a Friday night a cyclic group walks up to you and says, the size of my group, the size of myself, and one of my elements are relatively prime, what do you immediately know?
The size of my elements are relatively prime. I know. 6, 7, I know that it's a Friday
8, 9, 10! The time is up! The time is up!
Okay, next question. Favorite color palette?
What do they call them? Pastels? Pastel colors? Light blues, light greens, light pinks, pastel.
10! Up! Your time is up! Your time is up! Have you ever been to jail? Will you ever be to jail? Do you wish you've been to jail?
I'm not. No answer.
All right. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10! Your time is up! Your time is up! Can you please tell us how Bernie can still win?
You have to say it again. You cut out.
How can Bernie still win?
Excuse me. Oh, by becoming younger.
4.
Okay.
5, 6,
7, 8, 9, 10!
And final question of the lightning round. Are you excited to consume more content? Are you excited to consume more media and content soon?
I'm not excited to consume more content and media soon. I would like to stop consuming content and media. I would like to be outside in the sunshine with my friends.
That's beautiful.
Oh! You did it! You got through the lightning round. It's a terrible thing that happens each time. I don't.
You don't know how to
It
stop
takes it out of me. It takes it out of me. I tell you.
I'm gonna need to have a good night's sleep right after this. I'll tell you that.
You better.
It's crazy that you never have.
Weeks.
Yeah, can you talk to you? What do you even mean? How's that even possible?
Yeah, okay. So actually, first off, real quick, what is a good night of sleep to you? As in, do you mean a good night of sleep is?
Yeah, how often
do you does that use it in like 8 hours?
How often do you guys get a good night's sleep? Okay, let's all be transparent here. Did you hear me? Did I cut out?
Well, you see, when you point the mirror back at us,
Every few days.
I would say once, maybe once a week, but that's maybe a little less than once a week.
Once a week for me, I think. I try to force myself to get a good night of sleep once a week. In the summer, when I'm not busy doing everything, then maybe it's more. But lately, it has been very, very rare.
We're on the same page then. 1, 2, 3, 0. I mean, we're all on the same.
What's causing you to never have
arena
nights of sleep?
Yeah, we're college students. We have an excuse. What about you?
Well, yeah, you guys are just having too much fun all the time.
Yeah.
Darn. And I think for me, I don't know, something changed. I used to sleep a lot. I used to sleep heavy. And something changed, and I'm fine with it. I guess I just don't worry about it, too. I mean, I think my body's an enigma, and I don't feel like I totally understand how it works, and I'm much more interested in being awake, as long as I don't have headaches. Headaches are the only thing I don't like, and it really, that is also an enigma. But I don't know. My mind maybe is a little too active.
See, as much as I enjoy sleeping, I hate that I have to. I hate that that at the end of the day, no matter what I could be doing that's better or cooler, I have to. I hate it. Why?
That's awesome.
Sometimes I get so tired though that
there's so much to do.
I get so sad that I'm not sleeping. You ever been so tired that you start to cry because you want to sleep so bad, but you're so busy that you can't sleep? I have that problem.
That's rough. I mean, certainly. I also will say I'm not. Sometimes I think I'm quite weak in regards to sleep. I think when I'm really sleep deprived, I cannot perform.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, but
Maybe we're all just putting our bodies through a little too much. Maybe. But you know what? I feel like it's amazing. It's amazing what we can put ourselves through and still be mostly fine.
You know what's the most important thing?
What?
It's having a good attitude.
yes!
True.
Sounds crazy, but the physical stuff is important, but oh man, if you just feel great and if you just have a good attitude, oh man, you can just skip all the rules about how life is supposed to work, and vice versa too.
True.
You can feel really bad and take all the right supplements and such.
The second you allow yourself to wallow is the second you start to lose.
Very true.
You know?
Yes, I like to say keep the vibe high. Keep the vibe high.
True.
Very important.
We have a question actually. It's quite relevant. I feel like we've been dancing around it for a while now.
Okay.
So we're this is a college radio station.
I'm about to drop out, though. I would like to say, and
Yeah.
I've dropped most of my classes. I only have one in-person class left.
We got an aspiring future, very soon college dropout here, and we got me begrudgingly finishing my last year soon. Is college worth it? From your perspective?
Man. It depends on who you are and what you want to study, and
for someone who is not in STEM
for studying. Oh yeah. For someone who's not in STEM, again, it still depends. But here's what I'd say, because I don't want to give a cop-out answer. But I think if you are a young person, you're like in high school, and you're looking towards that time of being, post-high school, college era, whatever. And if you have a sense of something you'd like to do with your life, that doesn't require a degree. I'm not talking about being a doctor, right? But if you have a sense of something that you'd like to do that isn't college, but maybe you're nervous because you feel like you have to go to college and all those things, just do it. Because the cool thing is you can always go back to college when you're a little older. Like when you're in high school, when you're 18, it seems like such a big deal what you do right then. But then you get older and you realize, oh my gosh, like 18 to 25, in the eyes of society, nobody really cares. You could go back to college at 20. You could go back to college at 24. Really, nobody cares. And on the other hand, if you really don't feel like you have direction and you have no idea what you want to do, and you're like, oh, but I do want to go to college, I do want to get a STEM degree, just make sure it doesn't cost you everything. Just make sure it's not too expensive. That's it. But learning is good. Seek the learning. Also, community college, that's my last thing. I'm a big proponent of community college. It's low-key, won't cost you a lot. You'll make friends of all ages, and you can always coast a little. If you're not totally sure what you want to do, just take super cheap community college classes.
I love getting access. That's my favorite thing about college. Access to free radio station. Access to JSTOR. I get so much access. So many key cards. So many. They let me in.
I love that
they let
about
me
you.
In. We actually have a call-in guest
access
right now.
Is big. Okay.
Let's hear from him. Hello, call-in guest. You are live on air. Be sure not to swear or say anything too crazy. Or if you do, make it really count. What sort of question you got?
May I speak to Grain, please?
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's up, Grain? It's your boy, Bolt Snowman. How you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Chilling. I'm just here at Chipotle.
You're at a
right
Chipotle?
here. Yeah, Chipotle,
Cool.
just drinking out of a water cup. I'm close by Washington Square Park. I'm in New York City right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not actually from there. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah? That's cool.
Right across the Hudson River.
Whoa.
I just come out here and skate.
Wow.
Funny story about how I met Grain, bro. Fucking, she
Hey,
wants to
that's all you can't swear!
You can't swear. You
Oh
can't
my-
swear.
That's strike one.
Alright, okay, sorry. So I was at Restless Fest with Grain, and
God.
yeah, that's how I met her. We were all just I don't think she was part of it. We were part of a
Excuse me, sir,
circle.
but do you have a question for our guest?
Who's the guest?
Casual TF2. He makes videos on the internet. You got any questions for him about videos on the internet?
Does he make skate videos on the internet?
He doesn't.
Nope.
No, does he skate?
Do you skate, Casual TF2?
I'm an aspiring fake skater.
Aspiring fake skater. That's hilarious. Yeah, I was one for years throughout my pre-adolescence, my early adolescence, and I turned into a gamer, and that didn't work out for me. So, yeah, so I'm just skating right now. Like, this is like my very last dream that I could have until it's like appropriate.
What does he listen to when he skates?
What do you listen to when you skate? What do you listen to when you skate?
I listen to my friend Xavier. He makes music. He goes by Xavier So Bass. Yeah, he makes jerk
What kind of
music.
is it like hip hop? What kind of music is it?
Yeah, it's hip hop, more specifically jerk music. Like the rhythm goes like instead of like a trap beat, you know, with like the rapping hi-hats, you know. Yeah, it sounds like that. The beat pattern is mostly
or
like
Latin
that.
influence.
Yeah, Latin influence. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Latin influence. I do have
Just
a lot
rhythmically,
of
just rhythmically.
I'm Colombian.
Well,
Yeah. Actually, like,
that's really
Spanish and shit.
that's awesome,
like,
dude.
You got Xavier in the cumbia playlist.
In the cumbia? No, more like bachata. He's Dominican.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling in, guest.
Yeah, I'm more of a cumbia vibe. I'm Colombian.
You
so,
took this
yeah.
you took this interview in a whole new direction.
You
would
really
for having
took
me.
charge of the space. Thank
yeah.
you.
You have a commanding presence.
You do.
You're gonna go far. I don't know who you are, but you know you're gonna go far in this
Post the
world.
Snowman on YouTube. Subscribe. I have 255.
Follow for follow.
So, yeah. Hell yeah.
All right.
F
See you
for
soon.
F. Take care. Sub for
Wow. What a brave soul.
Oh, what a brave soul, indeed.
Oh.
You could hear the confidence in his voice.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
What a commanding presence. So, you know, oh yes. Let's get back to the interview. That was a cool detour. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, you have any thoughts about that?
You know, any comments you want to make to the audience about you know the significance of that interaction?
I was excited that he was skating. I think I don't think he mentioned smoking cigarettes, which kind of disappointed me. And
or spliffs.
I wish he
spliffs.
Yeah, I wish he gave more of a like punk rock-ish answer to the type of music he listens to when he skates. But that's okay. That's okay. Shout out Xavier.
He listens to underground rap.
I guess that's what the kids do nowadays, right? There's no time to skate to cool melodic hardcore, right? You got to skate to Drain Gang or whatever.
Hey.
Shout out.
You know, I've had it with hardcore too.
Me too.
I want neither. I want something else.
I don't know.
I don't care.
Skating. Just when you're skating. I mean, come on.
No,
Okay, well,
Have
if
you
it's when you're
tried?
skating, then yeah. I mean, what else do you?
He can be anyone he wants in the rest of his life, and I have no expectations. But when he skates, I might desire. I might pine for some things for him.
When you're skating, it's a special time, okay? I'm over here listening to Midwest Emo and Green Day.
True.
It's necessary.
I wouldn't normally allow myself to do that, but if I found myself on a skateboard, I feel like I would have to. It would be wrong not to.
It inspires things. Yeah, exactly. Everybody try once in their life to get into some like good '90s alternative indie emo screamo, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And skate the pain away.
So, you know, music. You got us talking about music. That brings you fell right into my trap of a question that I was going to ask later, which is, you know, you made the TF2 emo song. You made Team Feelings too. Do you make music outside of this that people can listen to for free or for pay on the internet?
Yeah, there's some different projects I've done over the years. When I was like 10 years ago, I used to make electronic music under the alias Polyphony, Polyphony. There was one song that was popular called Adrift like 10 years ago. That's what I was into when I was young, and I kind of drifted away from that. And there's been a bunch of sort of odds and ends projects since then that I have done. But basically, I would say, and I've played in like metal bands and that kind of thing, but I'm yet to hit my magnum opus, but it will happen because my life is really just a lifelong obsession with music. But if you're interested in more of that, you want to talk about music, or you want to talk about my music or things like that I've done, you can always reach out and talk to me, and then we can exchange some things. That's probably the best way to do it.
Wow.
What about you guys? Tell me a bit about your musical backgrounds or interests, because I love chatting music and psychoanalyzing you based on your taste.
Oh, okay. So like, are you talking about like what music making or enjoying, or both?
It can be both. You can interpret that how you want.
It's so daunting. Well, I am I don't know. Frick.
Do you want time to think? I can go.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so my music taste is currently going through an intense change.
Cool.
I find the study of subcultures to be extremely interesting. And it's a thing that I do often, where I try to do kind of research on a culture or subculture of people, and then I listen to their music, and I try to like go to their events, and I like learn about them. That call-in was actually a person that I met at a underground rap festival in New York City that still follows me on Instagram and responds to my story constantly. And
interesting. Interesting detail.
Yes. I'm a bit of an Instagram head. I post a lot on there, and I have a small little community. Very small. But yeah, basically the kind of music I would describe it as is like it's the current subculture I'm trying to study. And I would say that it's like hyperpop if it also had a lot of like old SoundCloud rap elements, Drain elements,
yes,
and then like also like just weird FL Studio stock beat elements. And there's like a lot of sampling and a lot of like purposefully bad, but also like not at the same time. It's a really, really strange and mystifying type of music that is like happening right now. That is like, I don't know. It's very hyper specific, and I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of that kind of music, not necessarily because I love it, but because it is extremely interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely like where things are at a bit in terms of youth subculture. I've through this whole casualTF2 thing, I've been introduced to a lot of that kind of music, just whether it's by people who are the young people nowadays, them telling me what they're into, learning by osmosis, and then specifically too, shout out my friend Angel Winter, who early on was talking to me and introduced me to a lot of different stuff in that scene, and like some like online URL fests that I was able to be a part of as well, and all that subculture, which I almost take it from your same perspective, where I'm very fascinated in it, and for me it's like an echo to my youth and the culture I felt like I was a part of, which was really the SoundCloud culture of the early 2010s, which was, there was some underground hip hop, but it was really like on SoundCloud, it was for electronic and dance music mostly, and it was part of whatever that era of people was who were in middle school and high school in 2010 wanting to learn how to make dance and electronic music. And it's been so interesting to see that climate change and how huge hip hop would explode, and like specifically all these different underground styles which take influence very liberally from all kinds of things, like you're saying, it might sort of hyper pop label that it will be tagged as, but the production might be influenced just as much by like hip hop as it is by a specific dance genre. And like you said, even the aesthetic of things that sound kind of cheap or something might influence it. And so that's so cool to me and interesting to me, because I I felt like I was part of a scene for a little bit. I felt like I was part of a moment in online music history, and I also feel like I wasn't. And so there's part of me too that sees all this happening now, and maybe doesn't look at it with envy, but goes like, "Oh wow, this is cool and alive." And it's also seeped more into the mainstream now. Like the niche that I was a part of, and like if you were a dude into like producing electronic music, like in 2011. It just wasn't quite. There was a sense of like people knew who Skrillex was. There was kind of a moment culturally of like, oh, there's a little bit of people now talking about like dubstep in America, but it wasn't that same level of cultural influence where like you could now kind of come from that underground rap world and actually really like the sky is the kind of the limit, because the most popular music in the world right now is pop, is rap music, and it's just as much influenced by the underground as it is whatever's in the top 40 in that genre as well. So that's very interesting.
It's really interesting to be part of a scene like while it's happening.
So true.
I feel like I'm in a very opposite spot of Ella, and I don't love it. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm not. My music taste is not especially obscure. It's not especially old or anything. I have a pretty. I don't know. I don't have a music taste that I would say is atypical for someone my age. But I don't know. I'm feeling very much like I am not a part of any sort of subculture or scene right now for the first time in a while, and it's sort of it's eerie. I feel like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sort of
floating.
floating.
You're creating your own little subculture, I'm sure, right? You're.
Well, I try.
We might have dabbled a little bit in that.
Come on.
I don't know, but I'll find my way back into one eventually. I always do.
Totally.
But
yeah, you will.
I don't know. It's interesting being in between for probably longer than I have been before. Also, we should start wrapping up the interview. We have we'll ask a couple more questions, but we have a campsite to get to, and I mean we have Wormington planned. Not Wormington. We have something to discuss after that's not on this bridge.
You guys gonna barbecue?
Maybe.
Just a camp, no barbecue.
Does he do anything else besides make YouTube videos? What
Yeah,
do you do with your free time?
Do you have
a job? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I spent probably for the last handful of years, I spend most of my time not making YouTube videos and not playing TF2.
That's terrible.
Which I think some people definitely give me flack for, but it's like I see it as I'm the cool one in the sense that I didn't move on because I think about all the people that I used to know that were in the scene that they just disappear. They go get real lives, quote unquote, and then actually just completely leave this life behind. The TF2 life. You can't leave it behind completely. But basically, I work as a guitar teacher.
Whoa.
And,
oh wow.
Most of my life is doing more musical things. That's the simple answer.
All right.
That's awesome.
I think I'll ask two more questions, and the final one's going to be a bit special. And Ella, I'll give Ella time to ask a question before I ask what I think I want the last question to be. So one of my questions I wanted to really get out there is, we talked to circle back to like TF2 video game things that we were talking about earlier. I've had video games as a medium is such a I don't know, it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. We don't have the time to get into it too thickly, but there's a sentiment that I've seen in a lot of people that I can't help but kind of share, even though I think it's a bit, I don't know, what's the point? But there's a sentiment that exists that sort of that the medium of games is definitely stagnating to some degree, and has been for some time, and continues to stagnate even more as time goes on, and that there's not really many big players like pushing the medium forward. A, do you agree to that? B, is there anyone pushing the medium forward? Not just like people, but just any projects even that you'd say are pushing the medium forward, and if so, what are they?
Okay. In terms of games?
Yeah.
Okay. So definitely, Definitely, just off the bat, I'm not qualified to answer this truly. So whatever I'm saying here, this is just me riff-raffing. I definitely don't know for real. Somebody out there really is actually studying this on the pulse of things. I've never been on the pulse of things when it comes to games. However, I definitely like my lifelong obsession with studying it and being on the pulse of it and noticing the history of it is related to music things. And in that world, I certainly have a huge 30-hour-long thesis I can give you about stagnation and about things really not innovating that much in the last 20 years. And I think this happens in a lot of forms of media. And part of my explanation of it is that there was this huge shift of culture to media being created on computers, which happened between 1990 and 2000. And I think that caused a lot of innovation. It changed the way a lot of things were done for obviously for games and for music and for film and all kinds of media. And it's interesting that I feel like I'm seeing less and less things that feel like new ideas and so many things being echoes of what happened in the past. This is what I would say to everyone, this could be long, and I know you guys want to wrap it up. You have another question, but an interesting way to think about things is if you are noticing a piece of media, ask yourself, at which year could this have come out where it would now be implausible or surprising? So when you see a new film and it has wonderful visual effects and this sort of thing, or a new game and it looks wonderful, ask yourself, could this have come out in 2014? Visually, would this have been that implausible? Could this have come out in 2010? That's always a very interesting thought experiment to notice how the progress of things is actually going, in my opinion. But who knows? Who knows?
Interesting. Ella, do you have like a final question before I give my final one?
Yes. So it's kind of like 2 in 1. Do you have any art in media that you think captures a feeling that you haven't seen most, like, anything else capture, like any particularly special art in media? And also, does that inspire you in any way to create, like, do you have any sort of big pie in the sky creative things for your future that you might want to make?
Well, that's a good question. It's definitely hard to find things that are very unique, that aren't completely avant-garde in a uninteresting way. This is the challenge, right? Is that inevitably do something more innovational and unusual. It's going to come off usually a little avant-garde. But then we all know if you go heavy avant-garde, it's like it can become kind of devoid of meaning, where it's harder to be profound. For example, if you consider very experimental film or noise music, it's like, on one hand, in those mediums, the bar is a lot lower because it's allowed to be very experimental. Could still do something profound in those mediums, but it's almost harder because you tiptoe that line of like this just becoming too abstract and too surreal. However, if I do want to try see if I can shout out anything right now in that regard. Oh man. I don't think I'm ready, honestly. There's probably a few niche things I could think of.
If you do send us anything afterwards, I can put it on the Zang Toom Toom Discord for anyone who's interested to look at.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's probably be the best, because on the spot I'm struggling a little.
But like, do you have any art that like would be like your ultimate goal, pie in the sky thing to create?
Yeah. On one hand, I want to do something that's classic and good. So what I mean by that is it's actually not subversive or innovational, but it's just like a classic thing done really well. So if we want to talk about that sense of like innovation and things moving forward, we could have the perspective of like, are you going to create like a new genre within the media, or are you just going to do another thing just as good as the original, which is very, very hard to do if we think of something that's like innovational. Like let's say your life goal was to like write a book as classic, let's say, as like The Hobbit, right? It's like you could definitely do that. It's harder in a way because you're not the first to do it. But at the same time, that's like a totally valid goal, and it's commendable to do that just as well, because that's so hard to do.
Very true.
And so I think there's pieces of me that want to innovate, and there's pieces of me that are also dissatisfied. Like, if I can just hit the bar, that's fantastic, because I'm a big appreciator of like the things that I think were done really well and the things that I think did innovate, and I'm just kind of perpetually in awe, even when I feel like other people aren't noticing, to go like, dang, that thing that those people did in 2003 is like still better than what people are doing now, and like it's challenging me because like, can I do something that good? Like, it's 21 years later and we have like more technology and more resources and more options, and I can't do something that good. So I don't know. I'm a creator at heart, and so I'm always going to be making stuff, and hopefully it just continues to be with my full heart and effort into it. That's all any of us can really do. We can have intentions and stuff, but I think the most important thing is it feeling in alignment with your vision and what the season is right now. Just these things always change. Like right now, you might want to write you might want to make like a conceptual dance themed board game, but then maybe next year it's like, no, I need to make dark ambient right now. Like this is the truth.
I love that answer. Now we have one more question, final one, and you can make it as quick or as long as you want, and however you feel.
Oh,
does not have to be no expectations here. If you can get a lot out of this question, you can. If you can't, you can't. Which is, are you an optimist or are you a pessimist, and why?
Oh, I love it. All right.
No cop-outs.
Tell me when to stop talking.
Whoa.
I
like that.
I am an optimist, and it took me a long time to get to this point. I certainly was not originally an optimist, and I would say that most of my adolescence and young adulthood was characterized more by a pessimism, but certainly a lack of optimism, a kind of wariness about how things were going to go. And the reason that I became quote unquote optimist is time reveals to you that you don't always know the purpose of what you're doing currently. And sometimes we have a kind of arrogance to expect that we should know the reason for everything and the reason for what we're doing right now. So, for example, you might be in college and you might be doing this college radio show, and you probably have hobbies and other things you're up to. And at times, it's probably very clear why you're doing that, and it's fulfilling. And at other times, probably feels like you are going through the motions, and where is this all leading? What's going to happen after I graduate? What's going to happen when we all part ways and this radio show doesn't exist? There's always those questions of uncertainty about the future. And so we always have a choice in the current moment whether we're going to listen to our intuition about how things are going right now, because sometimes things feel like they're going nowhere, and they really are going nowhere, right? We need to check ourselves and be like, wait, I can't let myself swerve off the road completely in this way. But then there are other times where maybe you are acting on your good instinct and you are listening to yourself and what seems right to you, but you have so much doubt about it, right? And there's doubt. We get doubt from all kinds of. Some people have a very hard time connecting with their quote unquote intuition or their instinct because maybe it's been sort of not the instinct has been suppressed, but there's so much doubt that gets put into us by society. If we have parents who didn't speak to us very nicely, or other friends and family who influenced us negatively in that way. So I would say even in my case, like it's taken so many years to feel like I can really listen myself and my own instinct and make sure that I'm doing what sits right with me, because it's so hard to do that because the judgment of others is so full, and the sense of not wanting to disappoint other people, not wanting to disappoint your family, not wanting to be seen as uncool, right? Even if we're not trying to disappoint anyone, just the pressures of society on how you should be and what's acceptable and what's not. There's so much of that influence that it can be really hard to just sit down with yourself and go, hey, what do you want? And this is something that I did a lot in my youth, was I asked myself that question, and went, why is this so hard to answer? Why is this so hard? No. And that's part of my epiphany, which helped me become an optimistic person, was I realized you don't have to know where you're going, and you don't have to know the exact plan for things. And in fact, most of the time, the best stuff in life happens without a plan and without an ultimate vision. The key is you just start and you just go. Because if we get caught too much in the pessimism, and if we get caught too much in the mind and the thinking and in the problem solving, a lot of that stuff, what it does is it just prevents us from acting, prevents us from doing. In general, we, as my fellow young people, we are enslaved by this matrix of media and technology. I am addicted. I am speaking to you as an addict. I'm sure you are all slightly addicted in your own ways. And so we're all generally erring on the side of not taking a lot of risks and probably being creatures of comfort and creatures of habit and wasting a lot of time going back to that familiar media or these algorithms and things that we swipe through. And things just don't happen. Things don't come into motion when you only participate in the world in that way. So my optimism is rooted in a necessity to move forward. And it's super liberating and free, because it's like you don't have to know where you're going, but you have to be moving forward. You can't just be I would not be an optimistic person if I thought if you put me in a room and tell me like not to do anything, and like I can't do anything like that, and I feel like I'm unable to do anything except for be in my room and be on my phone or something, there's no optimism to be had. That is not an optimistic life. But I have optimism because I have this sense that I know 100% with the fact, if I just keep moving forward, if I just keep trying to make things new, to go to new places, to meet new people, to put in new effort, to not get caught in the past. That's a huge one. I was so caught in the past for a long time. But if you do those things, reality just is optimistic. There's so much good out there that comes when you play the game of life with good intentions. And of course, this is my philosophy. This is my understanding. And I don't have to convince anyone of it, because it's mine. And like the freedom I feel from it is, anyone can say anything, and it's like, that's great, because it's something I've come to through a lot of experience and through a lot of not being happy and not being optimistic. And so if it's any consolation to people who are worried and they haven't made up their mind yet whether life is a good or bad thing, I will say that I don't know whether life is fair or not. That's actually a really tough question. But we'll say that if you engage honestly and keep trying and don't worry about things, like if you trust that things are going somewhere with purpose, even when you don't know the purpose, you are invincible. It's crazy. It's crazy. But getting there is so hard. And of course, my words mean nothing if you feel like you can't get there. But I'm an optimistic person. And finally, fate is the homie.
It's really
Fate
beautiful.
is the homie.
Fate is the homie.
Thank you guys for having me so much. This was a lot of fun, and
The whole room is.
I wish you guys very well.
The whole room is in agreement right now. What a splendid way to leave off our chat. Goodbye, casualTF2. Bye.
Buffering. I don't see anyone yet, though.
Well, we're just waving at you. Listen, it's been splendid. It's been splendid, truly splendid.
Oh, you're loading in.
I cut off a bit of my
Shout-outs.
hair during this, by the way, and I might just so you know, I did.
Yeah,
You're free of your hair.
and one of our co-hosts here was burning off a bit of his shoelace or something. I think. I don't know. It was crazy, but let me tell you this. This has probably been our longest interview yet. And that's with good reason.
Yeah.
I think
Well, thank you.
we have a chat to get to, don't we, Ella? So we're gonna get out from under this bridge now. Hope the fire stays warm.
Thank you, casualTF2.
May you have a nice evening.
I hope your life is bountiful and beautiful from here on out, and that you have thousands of blessings follow you every day.
I'm gonna keep bothering you after this. It's gonna be great.
Push us in the right direction.
Yeah, send us all your
That's awesome.
media.
Hey,
So glad I was.
thank you guys so much, and I hope you really enjoy your camping. And I just hope you do so much stuff out there, and just have a great Thursday night.
Thank you.
And take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Woo!
Wow, what a
Wow.
nice man.
Now, I guess we should probably just not talk about that. We should talk about Wormington, probably.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm